father of blessed memory used to read to me and to my brothers when we were young, and I thought that I would share it with you. It is about a spider, but not just any spider, a very clever spider whose name was Anansi. And in the west of Africa, there are many, many wonderful stories told about Anansi the spider. But that wasn't always the case. Once upon a time there was a great king, and he was called Nyankopan. And all the stories were about Nyankopan. Anansi came to him one day and said, "Your Majesty, it isn't fair. All the stories are about you. I would like the stories to be about me. I would like them to tell Anansi stories." Well, the king agreed on 3 conditions. That Anansi must bring him 3 things. First, he must bring him a jar full of bees. Second, he must bring him a great, long python snake, a very dangerous snake. And number 3, he must bring him a wild leopard. Well, he thought that he would never see Anansi again, but maybe he didn't know how smart this little spider was. Well, Anansi took a jar, and he went out, and he pretended that he was just by accident walking by the beehive. And there he said, "Yes, they can." And then he said, "Nah, they can't." "Sure they can." "No, they can't." The bees heard him talking, and they became very curious. And they said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Oh, it's nothing really. But you know, I was talking to King Nyankopan the other day." "Yes." "And he said to me, there is no way that bees would know how to fill up a jar by flying into it." And I said to him, "Yes, of course they could. Bees are so very intelligent." And he said, "No, no, 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 of course they couldn't." And the bees said, "Bzz, bzz, bzz, bzz. Of course we can." And all the bees started to buzz. And they filled up the jar, and Anansi quickly put the top on and brought the jar to the king. Next day he set out, and he wandered by the home of the great big rock python, who was about this big in his middle, and he could just crush anything by wrapping around it. And he walked by his house, and he said, "Oh no, he certainly is not." And then with another voice he said, "He certainly is." "No." "Yes." "What up?" "No." Yes. And the python came out to see what they were talking about. And he asked Anansi, "What, may I ask, is being discussed?" And Anansi said, "I'm sorry to bother you. You see that long stick over there? Well, the king Nyankopan says that that stick is longer than you." And I said, "Have you ever seen that python? That thing is long. He is much longer than that stick. And I don't know if you care, but we could measure." And the python said, "Be my pleasure." And he crawled right next to the long stick, and he stretched himself out, 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 and he was just about this much longer. Out, 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 out. But before he could unstretch himself, Anansi came and tied him to the stick, because you know, when a python is stretched out, there's not very much he can do. And Anansi had the big python now tied harmlessly to a stick, and he brought it to the king. Well, the last challenge was going to be tricky. How do you catch a wild leopard? Well, this time Anansi took some needle and thread. Do not try this at home, boys and girls. And he sewed his eyelids shut. And he walked in front of the leopard's den. And he said, "Ah, la la la, oh, beautiful, beautiful." And the leopard came out. "Rawr. What are you talking about?" "Oh, oh, it's gorgeous, it's gorgeous." What? Tell me. He says, "When I sewed my eyes shut, I began to see the most beautiful colors." Oh, it's gorgeous. Colors and pictures and lights. It's amazing. It's like going to the movies. The leopard says, "Oh, I want to see. Oh, I want to see. Quick, sew my eyes shut." And Anansi, quick as a bird, came and sewed the leopard's eyes shut. Well, once the leopard's eyes were sewn shut, he wasn't very dangerous at all. And Anansi slipped a rope around his neck and led him like a puppy dog back to the king's palace, back to King Nayan Kupan. And that is why today nobody tells Nayan Kupan stories, but everybody, at least in Africa and in my family, and now in your family, knows about Anansi the spider. I hope you enjoyed this story, my dears. I look forward to sharing more.